Hello everyone and welcome to Football Nostalgia, the podcast where we explore the teams and the players that have shaped the game we love. I'm Alex Ashmore, alongside me Casey to my right, if you're just listening, and then, well, it was Joe Biden, it's now Noah, who's wearing the sunglasses.
Out of context, that just makes everyone so confused.
He looked like Joe Biden, that's all I'm saying.
Great, thanks.
Hope you're doing well. How are you lads? Doing well?
Yeah,
good?
doing well.
Yes, I'm very excited for our sort of final points.
I was still talking.
Sorry.
He does this, yeah.
Sorry, it'd been like
So
5
so
seconds.
loud.
It'd been like 5 seconds
I
and
said,
I wasn't talking.
doing
so.
well, yeah. And you're like, yeah, I'm doing well.
Follow us on all socials.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing well. The weather is lovely in Madrid. I've
It
had
is.
some people visiting. Been
Oh,
enjoying just living in Europe, and it's super fun. Noah, how have you been?
All right.
Moving on.
Glad to hear that.
I like your glasses, Casey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
Thank
think
you.
you look nice with glasses.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was the word you used, Sarah?
I said he looks sexy with the glasses on.
Oh, all right. Come on, guys.
Get a room.
Yeah. She's
How are
in a
you,
different
Sarah?
I got new nails today.
Hey.
Best ones yet.
Yeah, we actually
Best ones
all
yet.
Is there a
collectively
particular-
really like the nails.
Is there a particular reason why you got those nails?
Slytherin?
I'm asking because I know the answer.
Obviously, for Reputation era Taylor Swift concert.
And
next
for those
week.
who have no idea what that means,
It's
Yeah.
her Reputation album. So
still,
Reputation.
for
I'd-
those who have no idea what
Was
that
the album
means.
cover like a snake or something like that?
It's her like revenge era. So she used a lot of snake metaphors throughout the music videos, on the cover art, and
Okay,
on
so
her
onto the
microphone.
episode.
What year did that album come out?
I have no idea.
Yeah, onto the episode.
26 I have no idea.
I think you should say that
A real Swiftie like Noah's dad.
Did she go
Exactly.
from
exactly. he'd
Did
know.
she go from Rangers to Celtic or
2017,
something
my
like
bad.
that?
Yeah.
Did what?
Rangers to Celtic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
revenge
She's-
era.
yeah, so revenge era.
Not everything.
You
has
could have
to
made that
become
so
a
much more
football
topical
era.
Yeah.
than a Figo, a Barca Real.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Not everything
sorry.
has to be
I
a
think you
football
should
metaphor.
I
say.
guess you're
I think you should
Celtic.
say you got those nails
Yeah.
because you're Slytherin. I think that would be cooler.
Do you
And
think
Slytherin.
I'm Slytherin?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you definitely are.
and football
Definitely
nostalgia.
I don't know if I should be
Definitely
Two
offended by
different
that.
conversations going on.
Yeah, we are having. This is terrible podcasting.
We're very
That is
sorry.
awful.
Literally.
What were they talking
Yeah.
about?
I have no idea. A completely.
Do they know what we were talking
What were you
No
two
idea
talking
what
about?
you were talking
Wow.
So
That is so bad. I almost think we should.
Just keep going. We can
No, we
recover.
love it.
Wow.
we're terribly sorry for that. It's a hot, almost summer's day. I think May is summer. And I think we're all a bit doolally. Casey and I were having our own conversation about the colour of my shirt and jumper. They were talking about Celtic and Rangers or whatever.
I have no
Um,
idea.
No, we weren't. We were
Doing my
talking about
Harry Potter.
Hogwarts houses.
Same thing.
Oh, well, we
Um,
kind of looped that into our
so-
conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much for listening.
I think I'm
Well, welcome back to another episode. This is the last episode that is worth points.
My
So-
glasses were fogging up.
I'm crying. So
Okay.
whoever made that bet just won.
Oh God.
So that's an extra point for me. We had a bet off. Who
No,
could make
no,
Sarah-
No.
No, I would have tried a lot
We're
harder if he knew there was a point in
We're
there.
joking, obviously. But yes, this is the last episode that's worth points. We've done our 11. This is the manager episode, and yes, episode 12. It's not the last episode because I know how you'll be like, oh no, don't go, carry on.
Please.
Yeah.
We've got
exactly.
another episode coming where we are going to do a captains/corrections.
Yeah, the
episode.
corrections is important. There's,
Yeah, that's
we-
going to
it's
be more of a general chat of, I think this guy should be instead of this guy. But yes, this is the last episode that's worth points,
Of
as I've
course,
said.
we will also have a little punishment.
Yes, so
Episode.
you've been voting on our Instagram. Thank you very much to everyone who voted for Hot Ones. Because that is the punishment
That is the
for whoever
punishment.
loses. They have
Sorry,
to
it's
do
Boys
you,
rule,
Hot
girls
ones.
drool.
Honestly, to
Um,
be fair, considering we have like 90, what is it,
It's
93?
80% male.
Whatever,
Yeah, we've
80%
improved.
male.
We have improved.
We have improved. I'm still impressed that like the nails even gave it a good running.
Yeah, you got out to an early lead.
I
But,
had a decent.
we
To
were-
be honest, though, I
we were
think-
worried.
I think
We
you
were
did a
worried.
Spurs actually, and he ended up coming
Oh.
third.
come on.
Because I think Stand Up ended up finishing second.
Stand up
Um,
would have been. I was really worried about
Stand up would have been
I did not
To
want
be
really
fair, there were a
funny.
lot of people who, like, when I told them about for nails, like, oh, but what about stand up?
Stand up would have been really
Yeah.
funny.
They all like the attention too
A
much.
lot of people were
I
like,
think-
I'm going to do what you're asking me to do and vote for Hot Ones.
Yeah.
But
But I would have.
Yeah,
this is the
Yeah.
worst
I think we
punishment,
definitely, yeah.
But you guys
One of
just
us would have
love
got-
that sort of attention. attention
Yeah,
on
but
you.
also
You would've
we
thrived.
just wouldn't be
Some
good
of
at it,
us.
and we'd have
No.
got a real
It would have
humbling.
been a shocker. So nice start
Thought that someone
to
at the-
a nice start to this. What we tried to aim to have a shorter episode of 30 to 40 minutes. We've probably already surpassed the 10-minute mark.
We're almost
Not
to
happening
5.
today. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
not
yes.
so bad. It's
but
not the
thank
longest
you.
intro we've done.
Thank you for watching so far. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your shares, your votes.
Keep
Hope you
them coming.
enjoyed
Please
Noah's
keep them coming.
vlog. Share that vlog of.
Don't share my vlog. Share
'Cause
Sarah's.
if you want
share,
him-
share Sarah's
Yeah.
The one
Spanish.
that
Yes.
got like 300
Sarah's-
likes versus the one that got like
Yeah,
3 likes.
exactly.
Sarah's very nice Spanish accent on the Plaza de Cibeles vlog. So yeah, go and share that. Send it to everyone. Drop a like, drop a comment.
Go
you know.
follow Ultra Madridistas.
Yes,
Yeah.
go follow Ultra Madridistas. It's been good to do some content with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, we're glad you've joined us on this journey so far. It's been a good one, and well,
Some guy looking.
not quite at the end. We've got a visitor. But yes,
always
let's
do.
get into it and let's decide the best Real Madrid manager of all time. Noah, you won last time.
I did, of course I did.
So do you want to kick us off
Easy.
with John Toshak?
No, I was
is
very
it?
pleased with my last win. I fought hard for that.
Are you going with John Toshak?
I'm not going for John
Oh.
Toshak, who I'm sure will come up later on, a name most of you will have no idea who that is, but Alex will very passionately tell you
Yeah.
about him later.
Matt will know who he is.
Matt, you'll of course know who
Oh,
he
I
is.
have a new. I found out my friend watches every episode.
Oh,
My friend and
that's
his
lovely.
wife.
thank you, friend.
Adham and Carly. Thank you guys for watching.
Oh.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much
it.
for watching, listening, all of that. So, my best Real Madrid manager of all time. I got first in the wheel as well.
You did, actually, yeah, we should say
Um,
that. We did a wheel. Noah came first. Casey still didn't come first. He came
I've never won a
second.
wheel spin.
Yeah.
However,
You weren't
I came,
last, though.
I came last for the first time.
Yeah, which puts him in a bit of a rough position.
being that he
Um,
is
all right,
losing.
though.
But to be fair, everyone here has got a really big chance. But mine, and a personal favourite of mine, is Don Carlo Ancelotti. One of, in my opinion, the greatest managers of all time. Having spent the year watching and following Real Madrid so closely, sitting in on numerous press conferences of him, he is so slick, so cool, and he has risen in my rankings to be my official third best manager of all time.
I thought you were going to say
Can
Real
we-
Madrid manager of all time.
No,
Yeah.
he is, no,
Well,
he's the best Real Madrid manager of all time for me. Above him
yeah,
is
Alex and
Sir
Pep.
Alex and Pep Guardiola. But Carlo Ancelotti now comes in at 3 for me. He's the most decorated manager in Champions League history with 4 trophy wins. That doesn't include the 2 he won as a player.
So he's won 2 with AC Milan and 2 with Real Madrid.
Yeah, 2 with Real Madrid. Of course, potentially 1 more. This will go out a week before Real Madrid play in the Champions League final in Wembley
Against Borussia Dortmund.
against Borussia Dortmund. He is the first and only manager to win leagues in all of the 5 top European leagues. A ridiculous achievement.
Also managed Everton.
Managed Everton.
I still can't wrap my
Managed
head around
Everton.
that.
Did a good job there. Did a really good job there.
Do
Despite having.
you know how he got the Real Madrid job back?
So I was trying to remember this story and I couldn't quite remember it.
So he was manager of Everton, and he thought, you know what, I'll give Real Madrid, I'll give my old pals at Real Madrid a ring. I'll give Florentino a ring. So he rang them up, bring. He said, do you have any players that I could have on loan? And they were like, yeah, but how do you feel about coming back? And he was like, all right. So that's how he got the job back at Real Madrid.
That's so interesting.
It's a
Hope you like the sound effect.
I'm still on the,
brilliant
yeah, I'm still on
story.
the
Yeah.
phone
That's
call.
how that's how low budget season 1 is. That Alex has to do his own sound effects for a telephone.
Well, I hope someone was going to edit that in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I-
Not anymore.
I could have, but you did
Don't
such
need
a
to,
good
yeah.
job
Yeah,
that
you,
why
yeah,
would
you did
I?
such a good job with the
Why
sound
can't you
effects.
guys do that with the bleeping? Kids bleep yourselves.
I
Okay.
think he's bleep.
Yeah. Why don't you bleep off?
Bloody
You're
hell.
talking to me or Alex?
Don't know. I was just doing it for comedic effect. So more Real Madrid focused. I've got a little timeline of his career, but we'll start with the illustrious trophy list: 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Club World Cups, 2 Super Cups, 2 La Ligas. Now, obviously, he just won the 36th La Liga title for Real Madrid.
That kind of actually surprised me when I was doing a little bit of research on him myself, that he'd only won 2 La Ligas.
Yeah, so his first sort of tenure is quite interesting. 2 Copa del Reys, 2 Spanish Super Copas as well. In his first season, he replaced Jose Mourinho. He appointed Paul Clement and Zinedine Zidane as his assistants, so brought Zidane more into the first team role. He signed Gareth Bale. He signed Isco. Yeah, he signed Isco. He sold Higuain. In his first season, he won the Copa del Rey and got Real Madrid to their first Champions League final since 2002. Atleti won the league that year. Real Madrid actually finished third, but of course that season will only be remembered for La Decima. And I mean, Ancelotti could never have managed another game for Real Madrid, and that game alone, their 10th Champions League win, beating bitter rivals Atletico Madrid, that would make him a legend, enough to be in this conversation within its own right. But of course, his career carries on. That was the third time he'd won it. He was the second after. Have you seen the name?
No.
Who is the name of the only other manager to have won it? 3 times before him.
Champions League.
Champions League, yeah. He's a Liverpool manager.
Klopp.
No.
Arne Slot.
Bob Paisley.
Oh, I thought you said he is a Liverpool manager. That's why I said
No.
Klopp.
Well,
Right,
that would
okay.
be a very narrow list. His second season, he won the Super Cup. He won a record 22 consecutive wins. Of course, they're on a ridiculous unbeaten run now. They haven't lost in the league since September.
I think that is now their longest unbeaten run.
I think, in the history of Real Madrid. He won the club's first Club World Cup title. They scored a record 118 goals, but they finished second. Semi-final of the Champions League, knocked out to Juve and knocked out in the round of 16 to Atleti. This meant that he was unfortunately relieved of his position after his second season in the summer. And obviously went away, managed Everton, etc., stint at Napoli. And in his third season, he took over from Zinedine Zidane. So obviously he brought him in as his assistant and then took over from him as manager. He won La Liga and the Supercopa de España. First manager, that was when he became the first manager to win all 5 European leagues. That was his first La Liga in his third season there. He's the first to reach Champions League semi-finals in 4 different decades, wow. 2020s, 2010s, 2000s and 1990s. They won the Champions League, which was number 14. I'm blanking on who it was against.
It was that year, right?
Yeah,
do you guys recognize that jersey?
2022.
That is not the day.
Come on,
who did they
it's
beat?
tradition.
Was it in
Come
Paris?
On. Oh, stats.
Yeah, it was in Paris.
Who did they lose to in
Stat
Paris?
department. Come on, it's a tradition.
We don't want to get it wrong.
They undeservingly beat Liverpool.
So they smashed Liverpool. That's brilliant.
Smashed is a bit aggressive.
Yeah. He then was obviously the first to win 4 European titles, which is just ridiculous. Next season, he won the Super Cup, the 8th win for Real Madrid. He broke Sir Alex Ferguson's record for the most wins in the Champions League. It was 103 at the time. I don't know what it is now. 5th Club World Cup, 2nd to Barcelona in the league, unfortunately, Champions League semi-final. And he became the manager with the most appearances in the Champions League. Cool. Then this season, he overtook Zinedine Zidane to become the manager with the second most wins for Real Madrid. He extended his contract, thankfully, to 2026, so we get to see more of him and Los Blancos. 200 appearances as manager in the Champions League. He won La Liga, Real's 36th. That's his 12th trophy for the club, overtaking Zinedine Zidane as the man with the second most trophies won as manager, and obviously has the Champions League final against Dortmund on the 1st of June, and it'll be a record 6th Champions League final visit for him as a manager, and very much hope that it is his 5th win.
La decimoquinta.
La decimoquinta. Fingers crossed, everyone. But that is everything I have on Carlo Ancelotti. But also the way he tactically makes his team, especially this team that we've seen this year, so fluid and unbelievable. People at almost every game when they drew Man City were like, Man City will knock them out. And I've said for a very, very long time, this year at least, Real Madrid will win the Champions League because they have impressed me so much. The fluidity of their attack, the way that their midfield plays, the solidity they have in defence, it's unbelievably good. The use of inverted fullbacks and attacking fullbacks.
Oh, bloody
just
Pep
insane.
Guardiola. Over
I know. I was gonna say he's doing all the.
I do all the actions. Yeah.
Now the cool thing about Ancelotti, it seems like nowadays everyone is kind of set in this is Pep's way of playing football.
Yeah.
Ancelotti's like he will adapt and he will like trust the players
He's
he
so
has
slick.
to kind of like let them be themselves, change his tactics if he needs to depending on the matchup. And I don't think there's a better manager in football.
Yeah,
I think every player who plays for him loves him, and he can get the best out of him because he's such a charismatic and likable guy.
I think his in-game management as well is the best in the world at the minute, and I include Pep in that. Pep is such a brilliant tactical mind, but can he doesn't normally have to change his overthink. Yeah, he just has to continue with what he had planned because it's so brilliant. But Ancelotti very much lets the players be their players. We saw Jude Bellingham touch upon that he just lets the talent that he has sort of flourish.
Yeah.
But in game, I mean, you saw it against Manchester City, and we saw it in the semi-final against Bayern as well. Another ridiculous comeback. La Decima was a ridiculous comeback for Real Madrid, and so was the semi-final.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think live, it's probably the second most impressive team I've seen play as a cohesive unit.
I think they're
live as in actually in the stadium. I think there's only one team I've ever seen that's been better than that, and it's just credit to
Yeovil Town.
No,
and also it's really understated that when we've been in the press conferences, as we have been almost every week, watching him talk and being so close to sort of him handle the press and be the face of Real Madrid. Wow, he
does it very well.
There's so much
oozes
pressure that
class.
comes with this job, and he handles it so well. Everyone loves him. He is the Don.
Oozes
And
class.
Yeah, I think, like you said, people underestimate his kind of tactical importance because
100%.
People just see him there chewing his gum,
Yeah,
raises
raising
an
his
eyebrow, and they're like, "Oh, that's all he has to do." But there's a lot more to it than that, obviously. And yeah, he's just so cool.
Can you do that again, Alex?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask,
I can't
you
do
guys
it. I tried to do
have
it.
that skill?
And once I picked him, I was like, I just hope I can do it. But
You
no.
just spent the whole night practicing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But that is everything I have on Don Carlo Ancelotti, who I think has a really big shout to be Real Madrid's greatest manager of all time.
So who are we going for next? Do we decide me or
I
you?
think
Casey?
You.
Alex,
Okay.
I believe.
So I feel like it's actually come full circle. I talked about this man as a player in the midfield. I'm now going to talk about him as a manager. Zinedine Zidane, or Zizou as he's commonly known. So in 2010, he was appointed as special advisor to the first team, which is a weird title. It sounds like
Quite a cool title.
Yeah.
I want to be special advisor to the first team.
2011, he became the
Just don't like
sporting.
hearing you speak.
Jesus Christ. Honestly. Jesus Christ.
2011 became sporting director of Real Madrid. 2013, as you mentioned, became assistant coach of the first team under Carlo Ancelotti. 2014 took over at Castilla as the head coach. Now, there's an interesting story when he was at Castilla. When he was given the job, he didn't have the
Coaching license.
he didn't have the what's
His
the word I'm
badges.
looking for, the required coaching badges. So I forget the name of the other guy, Santiago. His name escapes me. He was the manager, but in effect,
Like Cesc Fabregas at Como at the
yeah,
minute.
Zidane was doing all the talking. He was shouting instructions on the sideline, but the person who would do, there for the coaching badges was this other fella whose
I
name
mean, he didn't
does
have to do all the
escape
press
me.
Yeah, I was gonna
conferences
say.
and
It
stuff.
sounds like all the best
Yeah,
bits.
exactly.
Yeah,
Great.
he had quite a cushy job actually. So then in 2016, he took over from Rafa Benitez, and he
Just missed out on being in this episode.
yes, alongside a few others, who's just been sacked by Celta Vigo, not a few months ago now. So weird to see him back at the Bernabeu. It was actually my first game at the Bernabeu, Rafa Benitez as manager.
Did you go to the press conference?
Unfortunately not.
Would have been good.
Appointed as manager in 2016, as I said, took over from Rafa. He is the first French coach to win the Champions League. He is the only coach to win the Champions League twice in his first two seasons, alongside Jose Villalonga. At one point, he had the same amount of trophies as he did losses, which is
That is
unbelievable
That's kind
stat.
of a comedy.
Which I sort of think is a theme that we've seen quite a lot with these Real Madrid players and managers in terms of, talk about Grandeza in terms of how good Real Madrid teams have been over the years. So he had a brief spell away in 2019, I think it was, if I remember correctly, maybe 2018. Then came back and eventually left for good in 2021. He's been linked with a few jobs since, Man United, Bayern Munich and whatnot, but still not back in management.
I think we'll see him at Real Madrid somewhere down the line.
Yeah,
in the
I
future,
wouldn't be
I'm sure.
surprised. So, yes, a few accolades. He was the world's best club coach 2 times. He won the Champions League 3 times, and not just 3 times, he won it 3 years in a row, back to back.
Unbelievable.
He won the Club World Cup twice, he won La Liga twice, he won the UEFA Super Cup twice, he won the Spanish Super Cup twice. So he's got the same number of La Ligas as Carlo Ancelotti, same number of Spanish Super Cups as Carlo Ancelotti, more Champions
He's gone
Leagues.
for targeted stats. He's gone for targeted
More Champions
stats.
Leagues than Carlo Ancelotti, and I know you're going to say, yeah, but they're playing Dortmund next week. He hasn't won it yet. More Champions Leagues than Carlo Ancelotti, and the same number of UEFA Super Cups as Carlo
I just
Ancelotti.
want to clarify, more Champions Leagues than Carlo Ancelotti for Real Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti has more Champions Leagues.
Well, this
than
is a
I
Real
forgot
Madrid
this was a
podcast.
Just
world
saying. I'm just
football
saying. I'm
podcast.
just saying.
Well,
Just
I'm
saying.
just saying it's a Real
saying.
Madrid.
Right, can you like?
Yes, has been spending
yeah,
too much
carry
time
on.
together.
Honestly.
Carry on speaking. Carry on
I'm
speaking.
just making a point, that the whole every time we do stat cards, we only include stats for Real Madrid. We
Yes.
don't include
I know,
trophies
but
from
as
other
in
clubs.
as a sentence, it's incorrect.
So,
As a stat, it's not.
263 games he managed. He won 174 of those. That's a win percentage of 66.2, which is quite impressive. I think, to be honest, when I think of players going on to become managers, I get a bit nervous. I think this is not a good appointment. This isn't going to go entirely well. He's probably, not always, but there has been cases where it's gone quite wrong.
Definitely, but I mean,
think generally I'm more erring on the side of negativity rather than positivity.
I would strongly disagree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Pep Guardiola,
Okay.
Sir Alex
No,
Ferguson,
as like in
Carlo
terms
Ancelotti.
of when I
Zinedine
think
Zidane.
of
There's probably
yeah,
more failures than there are successes.
when I think of Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard,
Yeah,
etc.
okay,
etc.
yeah, recently. maybe
So
not.
yes, I
Vincent
think
Kompany.
he is arguably, in terms of instant bounce back success, one of the best player to manager transitions. He, winning Champions League 3 times is impressive as it is, but to win it 3 years in a row, that team was arguably one of the best teams ever out of any team. The players they had, Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale.
This
basically the whole
football
11.
nostalgia, man. Like that fact that team existed at the same time that the Barcelona team existed.
That I think is the
Take
greatest.
me back.
I think
Take me back.
that is the greatest rivalry in terms of quality of teams, in terms of how long they've gone neck and neck. I think that's probably the greatest in terms of
in terms of
in an era.
trading blows. Yeah.
I think if you can, I think it's easy to say, well, anyone could have won those 3 Champions Leagues. No, that's not true. It takes
No, I don't think
takes
anyone would. I don't think,
no, but you know how
No, I know what you. I know. Yeah.
a phrase that if you put Sean Dyche in a Real Madrid manager, he would win the league. I'm not criticising Sean Dyche. I think he's a brilliant manager.
I absolutely adore. I won't have any slander against him.
But yeah, I think for me to win those 3 Champions Leagues back to back and to do it when managing a team full of players with massive egos, we know how.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, how dare you?
Everyone. No, not everyone. But when you're managing a team full of, maybe not egos is the wrong word, superstars who in their own right could probably do quite a good job without a coach. He, got them together as a cohesive unit and won 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues. That is just unbelievable. One of the greatest achievements in management alone.
Surely it's just he demands respect because of how good he was.
I
and
think so,
he has
yeah.
that aura still that he had as a player.
Yeah.
Even if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, like that's easy.
But then I think also if you look at, obviously, Guardiola and others are an exception, but if you look at, there are players that should demand that respect. Frank Lampard, I'm sure, did. But, when you think of his time as a manager, it's not as successsul.
I think that there's an aura that Zizou has.
He has an aura, but still, I mean,
Frank
Frank
Lampard
Lampard
at
managing
Chelsea
Chelsea and Steven Gerrard managing Liverpool. Oh, they didn't manage Liverpool, but
But I think,
they are
there
absolute
is
legends.
There is a respect to be had, but I think you still have to win that respect in an element of.
Yeah, I'd just be more scared of Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me to do that, and he was only a coach for Real Madrid for sort of 3 or 4 years, on and off, had the little break. Obviously, Julian Lopetegui came in for that brief stint, and then he came back. Who's just been appointed West Ham manager as we speak. So yeah, I just think for me to be able to do that, to lead a team that's that good, but to get them all playing together as a unit with some big individual players in that team is just an unbelievable feat.
It's interesting because all of that is so true, and I that's like him and Ancelotti. They just have this way of like bringing everyone down to like we're all doing this for the team. It's not about individuals.
Not about individuals.
And yeah, they both just kind of have this. Oops, sorry about that.
Table almost tipped there. Usually it's me
down
doing
the whole
it.
studio.
I went to the gym today.
Oh my god.
Oh, what did you do?
That was a vintage Sarah Rock, by the way. That was like,
Did you say vintage?
that was
So
like
exaggerated.
Nearly gonna
Was that a
pop out of the
nostalgic
skull.
one?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, they are both just. Oops, sorry.
Just an accidental.
Joking.
Yeah, but we can just.
You mean me? You mean me?
I think you just edit that
Assistant
out.
editor.
Yeah.
Just an editor,
I
Casey.
said assistant.
He said
I heard
assistant.
I heard
No.
just an
I
editor.
thought
No.
you said just an
I was like,
editor.
why is she getting mad at
I
Come on,
heard-
that?
guys.
I
We've
heard
got
just an
we've got like 2 episodes left. Let's
Alright.
not fall
on.
apart now.
You're
Go
at 25 minutes.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
Well, I have the.
Yes.
I think I have the longest one.
I want to go home.
Casey,
We've got a whole other episode after this.
Casey, you are about to tell us about, and I'm going to choose my words carefully here, the most successful Real Madrid manager of all time.
That is
I'm not using the word best. He may be the best at the end of this episode, but the most successful.
The most successful
And
and,
perhaps
the
one that
longest
we-
tenured.
Perhaps one that, to be honest, I didn't know about until 8 months ago.
Yeah,
9 months ago?
I admittedly didn't know a whole lot about him before doing my research. I knew of the name and I knew when he was the manager, but wow, I have pages here. He is so successful, and there's so many cool stories. I will start. Just bear with me. I'm going to kind of go through his life a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Born and raised in Madrid, but he ended up playing in the north of Spain, Racing Santander, Celta Vigo, before returning to play for his hometown club of Real Madrid in 47 and 48.
It's funny
Season.
sorry, just to interject.
Just got started.
sorry. When you said, to go back to play for his hometown club, it sort of makes you think, he's going to go back and play for, Accrington Stanley.
Yeah.
Well, back
Ipswich, or-
then, apparently Real Madrid wasn't. They were kind of flirting with relegation, and they were apparently there was. I read this quote when I was doing my research. It is a second-tier club with a first-tier stadium. That's how they were when he rejoined the team.
What year was this? Just for
47,
context?
1947.
This is when he returned to Real Madrid.
To Real Madrid as a player.
Okay.
By 55, they had brought in Di Stefano, and they're kind of getting started in that incredible era. And he's on that team. He's captaining that team. So he scored in the inception, the first year of the European Cup, the Champions League. He scored Real Madrid's first ever goal in 1955. He he retired at age 36. To quote him, "To avoid making a fool of myself." Santiago Bernabeu asked him to stay with the club, so he stayed on and managed the what is now called the Castilla team, the B team. He kind of got brought up first as an interim coach for filling in for an illness for the first team coach. Then there was a firing, and he ended up coming in his first season as a fill-in interim coach. He beat Barcelona in the European Cup semifinal in 1960, 6-2 on aggregate. Went on to beat Frankfurt 7-3 in the final, becoming the first person to win the Champions League as a player and manager.
Wow.
Okay. This landed him the full-time gig, where immediately after that, after having struggled in the league, he went on to lead as a manager to lead Real Madrid to win 5 consecutive La Liga titles.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Let me just make sure I'm not getting too sidetracked. There's so much here, and I kind of was all over the place with my notes. So yeah, like I said, he was coaching the reserves. He comes up. He starts to take over the first team. He wins the league 5 years in a row from 61 to 65. So he wins the Champions League 59-60, 61 through 65, 5 consecutive league titles. They miss one in 65-66, and then
Such a failure.
Then he goes on to have another three-peat in 66 through 69, and then it wins another one in 71 to 72. That is, as we're counting, that is 9 La Liga titles.
Wow.
It's pretty darn good.
He won 2 Copa del Reys as well. He won 2 European Cups. As I said, he was the longest tenured manager. He served as the head coach of Real Madrid for 14 years. Wow. He, let's see here. Most games managed at the club with 605. You put that together with his 347 appearances as a player, that is 952 matches.
Wow.
Representing Real Madrid.
That's a lot.
So as a player, became the first Real Madrid captain to lift the European Cup, and then went on to win it as a manager and became the first player manager, as I said. Moving on. So after they won it, the European Cup, and he's coaching his old team. He's coaching the team that he captained, and they kind of go through a downfall after they won that first one in '60, and they're not winning it for a while. Apparently, him and Alfredo Di Stefano were going at it. A lot of F-bombs thrown back and forth at each other.
I would not want to be in that dressing room. I'd maybe like to be a fly on the wall.
I would 100% want to be in that dressing room.
But I would not want to be sat there.
No, I don't want to. Yeah.
No.
Imagine there being
So
a
he's
poor
got
academy.
he's got this. There's just so many crazy names. So we have Miguel Munoz managing, and he's won a Champions League. He's winning all these La Ligas, but they're having a hard time in European football competitions. He's got Santiago Bernabeu breathing down his neck. He's got Alfredo Di Stefano in front of him, getting so pissed at him. And Alfredo Di Stefano's getting old now. He's not the blonde era really anymore.
Yeah.
So what he does, Bernabeu asks him to rejuvenate the team, get us back to European success. So he benches Alfredo Di Stefano.
Oh, he's already not my favourite. That's that decided.
Di Stefano went on and left the next year, and he told Di Stefano when he asked, "Why did you bench me?" He said, "I don't have to give you explanations." He ended up benching Puskás, who kind of remained as a bench player. Santa Maria was benched as well, ended up retiring.
At what point do you cross the line from having quite large cojones to being silly?
Well, just wait. So this is all happening, they won in 1960.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're winning these La Liga titles, so he's having success. He's not, falling on his face.
Yeah.
He starts to bench all these guys who brought them the success in the 50s,
Yeah.
but are now getting too old. This is where, so he's benching all these guys. This is where he brings in Amancio.
Yeah.
He brings in Jose Pirri. He brings in Zoco and a lot of other guys. Then they go on and win the UEFA Champions League or the European Cup in 1965-1966 to get his second European Cup.
Yes.
So basically saying Santiago Bernabeu asked him to rejuvenate the team, benches all the old guys who had done it for him for so long, guys he had played with, and then he goes on and wins it again a few years later.
To do that,
it's
it
incredible.
takes real sort of inner strength as a manager to
trust what you're doing.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Also be able to recognize talent enough. Apparently back then you weren't allowed to bring in foreign players. You had to recruit in Spain.
Oh wow.
That was a 2-year gap or a 2-year period when that was that was the case.
Yeah.
And so he had to recruit in
and of course,
Spain.
I don't think in the 60s that substitutes there weren't substitutions. I think you had the 11 and that was it, and then you just had the bench. Substitutions is a fairly, in terms of the grand scheme of football, is a new rule.
Quite often, I think you watch. There's this program on British television called The Match, The Big Match. I think it is. My dad loves it, and you see the lineups, and they have. You know how these days players have numbers, 22, 38,
It was
14,
1, 2, 3, 4,
1,
5.
2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
and then the substitute 12.
Yeah.
There was one.
Just one of them. So, yeah, he goes on and wins the Champions League in 65-66, basically proving everyone wrong. Few years go by, the foreign recruitment opens up. Barca, the pendulum kind of swings back to Barca now.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in Johan Cruyff, and they're kind of there at the top of the footballing world, and fans are kind of, all right, Munoz out, and...
It's amazing how fickle football fans are.
That's true.
He's won
Fickle football blog.
Oh,
Hey.
shameless.
Go read my blog.
You see what I did
No,
there?
don't read his blog.
No, do read his blog. It's a
Read
good
all
blog.
of
Read
them.
my blog.
Yes.
Read everyone's blog.
Read his blog. Read
Calper
his
Sports
blog.
blog. his.
Read her blog.
Pitch side perspective.
Inside perspective.
Never mind.
Sarah's is on F1.
So
Lando Norris.
when all this is, the fans are like, okay, you got us out of that period. He's still winning La Ligas,
Yeah.
but now it's kind of the pendulum shifting to Barcelona. Fans are kind of saying Munoz out. It gets backed by Real Madrid. Santiago Bernabeu and the front office release like a statement. We back him. He's got us so far.
Never a good start.
He's brought us. No, he's transitioned us from the Di Stefano era into this new
Made
the
them the club
Yayas
they are,
era.
Yeah.
And he's done so well. He's won 9 La Ligas. But despite that, he said, "This is what the fans want," and he resigned.
Okay.
Very magnanimous.
Yeah.
Very.
He goes on and he coaches. I believe he was at Sevilla for a bit, maybe one other club. I can't remember. He coached the national team for a few years, got to a final and lost to France, unfortunately. 2 years after retiring at the age of 68, he passed away. He's buried here in Madrid, wrapped in a Real Madrid flag.
Is he really?
Oh,
That's a
it's beautiful.
brilliant.
When did he
So-
die? Sorry.
It was 1990.
Okay.
So, to recap, 9 La Ligas, 2 European Cups, 2 Copa del Reys, 1 Intercontinental Cup, first player to score in the Champions League for Real Madrid, first person to ever win it as a player and as a manager, first captain of Real Madrid to ever lift the Champions League, benched Di Stefano, Puskás, and Santa Maria, brought in Amancio Pirri and Zoco, and went on to win another Champions League, and is true throughout his entire career has just been a Real Madrid man, and it's
Won the most. He's won the most trophies as Real Madrid manager.
It's funny that I never wrote that down
He's-
because I wrote he
yeah.
has
He's won 14. It's the most as
14,
manager.
14, which
He's
is
also got the most wins.
2 more currently than Ancelotti.
Will fingers crossed be just 1 more when
Yeah.
they win the
A couple,
Champions
yeah.
League.
So he will, no matter what, at the end of this podcast, have the most trophies
Yes.
for Real Madrid. He will have the most appearances as a manager, and he'll have the most wins as a manager.
Yes.
And he'll have done it for the longest period of time, 14 years, and transitioned them from their best era into one of their second best era. I don't know.
I mean, for someone that's name isn't as widely
Oh my gosh.
recognisable as ours. As
As
our
ours.
As our 2 picks.
How
as
many
our 2
Champions
picks.
Leagues again? Sorry.
2.
2.
And like Liga's 9,
9.
so 11, and then what?
14,
Copa
it's
del
14
2
Rey.
Copa del Reys and an Intercontinental Cup.
It's 14 trophies.
No, and the impressive thing, so from the time he took over till the time he retired, he was winning La Ligas.
Yeah.
No question about it. Sprinkling a couple Copa del Reys and Intercontinental Cup. But
As you do.
Just chuck a couple in.
even the European Cup stuff is so impressive to me because he wins it as an interim coach in his first season, beating Barcelona in the semifinals.
It's like an olden day Roberto Di
I was
Matteo.
just going to say that.
And then-
going to say that.
And then they start struggling, but they're still winning La Ligas.
Yeah.
And then he changes the whole squad, recruits new players, wins it again, and just it's so cool that he can just.
It's seriously impressive. I mean, yeah, it really is. I mean, I know you said earlier that you don't think players go into great managers. All
No,
3 of our
not-
picks.
Not
Well,
all
that's
of them,
because
but like, you know.
We wouldn't have brought a crappy manager into this.
No, I'm saying obviously there are lots of players that do go on to become successful managers, but I'd say more recently than not.
More recently.
There's
I'll
more of
give
a
you.
retired
Okay.
that all, you know.
I'll give you more recent.
But yeah, no, I think all 3 fantastic
Yeah.
players, and weird that he never came up in our conversations of, you know, positions. Like,
Yeah, I don't
know,
think.
I don't think
even
as
an
like, as a,
honourable mention.
No, I don't think
but
he
I
was.
think he was. We were always sort of saving him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is where he.
give him his
This
big
This is
old
real. He was a
yes.
good player. He was a great manager.
Yeah,
I think that's a brilliant epitaph for him. Before we get into the
that's a big word.
before we get into the debate, I think we've got some honourable mentions.
Yeah,
We do.
Because there's a lot of people. I'll quickly touch upon mine. Obviously, it's become a trend that I have a somewhat affectionate liking, I don't know, towards Alfredo Di Stefano.
Normal people say I'm a fan of.
But I have an affectionate liking. I don't know.
I like you with your glasses on.
yeah, thanks. But As a manager, he also obviously managed the club, and that was a big part of the sort of La Grandeza. His most famous thing is bringing La Quinta del Buitre. Of course, another person that I will also touch upon, who I am upset didn't get into our team, is Amancio, the only manager to have won the Segunda Division with Castilla. Those are just my two honourable mentions of two players that were brilliant as managers as well.
I mean, while we're doing it, I know Alex has one. I'll just shouts out to Jose Mourinho.
Obviously, we didn't touch upon Jose Mourinho.
Yeah,
he is one of those guys. I think. Do you have some stats there?
I do. So he actually didn't. He had a successful time as a Real Madrid manager. He won a few trophies. He had a win percentage of 71.4%, which is quite good.
That's insane.
I think, to be honest, when I think of Mourinho, I don't remember his time. Obviously, I do remember his time at Real Madrid, but he's not. I don't think that's his pinnacle of achievements.
No, he's not as synonymous as R3.
However, the rivalry he had with Pep, that was
iconic.
I think when you
peak entertainment.
When you look at, he was probably the first manager that came along that hindered Pep's dominance.
Yes.
In terms of he was the first manager that challenged Pep, that was able to beat Pep, that was able to win trophies when Pep was the Barcelona manager. He was a fantastic manager. He still is, I think. He's one of the best managers ever, I think. To win a Champions League with a team like Porto with the money that they didn't have. Thank you for correcting me.
Normal people say didn't have.
We're a shambles today.
But I think probably not as well known for his time at Real Madrid because maybe he didn't quite have the success that he would have wanted. Had that 3 seasons. Roughly, I think it was 3 seasons.
Two and a bit.
Yeah, 2 and a bit.
Syndrome.
It's crazy that it was only that. It feels like he was there for longer,
Yeah.
But as a big fan of Mourinho, special one, as he called himself back in an interview when he first joined Chelsea. I think he, as you would say, deserves his flowers. If this wasn't a Real Madrid podcast, I think he would deserve. He'd get a lot more chat.
He'd have a lot.
It's just best managers of all time list.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Yeah,
Do you have any more recommendations for us? Or sorry, honourable mentions? Or you?
Just looking at Alex's notes.
Quiz question for you.
Yes.
John Tuchak.
How many British and Irish managers have there been at Real Madrid in their whole history?
4.
Did you say 1?
3.
Noah's right. 4.
Can I name them?
If you can, go for it.
John Toshak.
Yes. Who's Welsh?
Michael Keeping.
Yes. Who's English?
I
think you'll struggle with these last 2.
It's like, is it Andy something?
No. One's Irish. One's Irish and one's English.
Our audience really likes this.
One's got a similar name to a very famous actor. Colin
Farrell.
Firth.
His name is Robert Firth. He's English.
Okay. And there's a something.
The last one's Arthur.
Oh, Arthur Johnson?
Yes,
Yes.
Arthur Johnson. So we've got John Toshak, Michael Keeping, Robert Firth, and Arthur Johnson, who the last one was
Are those guys
Irish.
actually on the list of best Real Madrid managers of all time?
They've won trophies as Real Madrid managers.
John Toshak has
They're just British, so we're
John Toshak deserves his mention.
Yeah, so John
so
Toshak,
let's talk
I think
about him and not the
Matt, you'll like this chat, and I'm sure, Matt, you'll know more about John Toshak than I do, but obviously...
We're doing this for one guy.
But no, very well known for his time as player for Swansea and Liverpool, I think I'm getting right off the top of my head. And yes, went on to manage Real Madrid, had 2 stints as Real Madrid manager. I believe he has the record for I want to say this, highest number of points without winning the league, I think, or something like that.
I think that's correct.
Yes.
He did have the record for the most amount of goals in one season.
Yeah, and then maybe Pellegrini's broken that since.
It's
but
been also broken by Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah. So, but no, I think John Toshak, one of the sort of bigger names of foreign management in Real Madrid history. And I think an honourable mention, deserves an honourable mention. Now, this last one, quite a cool story. His first name is Luis, which is a very Spanish name. His last name is Maloney, which to me sounds Irish.
Yes,
and he sounds very much we are Brits and Americans abroad, Giddies as we would be called. He was born in Tenerife, and then went on to manage Real Madrid. I actually think he's one of the most successful Real Madrid managers. I think he's the fourth most successful Real Madrid manager of all time. So yeah, just quite a cool story of a guy who's got an Irish-sounding surname called Lewis Maloney.
Just the surname that got him in.
Born in Tenerife. But no, I think
that's
he is. Could you fact check me, please, Sarah, and tell me that
I'm
he
gonna be
is
honest, I was not listening to you.
When is the-
Lewis Maloney, who is I think he's the fourth most successful Real Madrid manager of all time.
By trophies or
Trophies,
wins?
yeah, that's how I consider success.
Lewis,
in
like
terms-
Luis?
Yeah.
Luis Maloney,
Maloney.
Molowny.
I think it would be better to look at a list of most. Real
Yeah, I
Madrid
think if you
trophies.
go list of Real Madrid managers on Wikipedia,
Should we
it
start
comes
this
up.
debate though?
Let's do the
Yes.
Let's do the debate while she has a little fact check.
What is it you want to know about it?
Just
Uh,
who are the top
yeah.
5 most successful managers in Real Madrid history,
terms of-
trophy-wise?
Trophies, wins, whatever. So this is a really tough debate. I thought Zidane would be the third choice, but he's really has a case. But I would say, just because, for me at least, this is my feeling, that just because it's the shortest tenure.
But then arguably he's had a massive impact over a really short tenure.
That's true.
That is
However,
very true.
it's not enough.
Isn't it harder to have a bigger impact over a longer period of time?
But I'd also argue it's very hard to have a big impact in a very short amount of time, because sometimes it takes a while to implement your style and your tactics. And
No, that's true. That is
to
true.
have,
But that is.
to win 3 Champions Leagues in a row in
That is
your
true.
in 3 seasons
But I just-
is
but-
like
But I
unbelievable.
just think, yeah, maybe.
It is unbelievable. That's true.
Yeah.
Also, winning 5 consecutive La Ligas and 9 in 8 and 10 years is pretty unbelievable
that's
too.
pretty good.
That is-
That's pretty
that
good.
is-
Coaching a team for 14 years in a row.
Your weird guy is fourth.
Weird guy.
What's the order here?
It's
Most successful
Munoz.
Real
Miguel
Madrid
Munoz, Carlo
managers
Ancelotti,
in terms
Zinedine
of
Zidane,
trophies
Lewis
won
Maloney.
Is
Thank
What-
you.
what
I
Alex
asked
said,
Sarah
yeah.
actually.
What Alex
14,
said.
12, 11, 8, I think, for Lewis Maloney, or 9?
8 for Maloney, and then 5th is Del Bosque with 7.
Okay.
Of course,
That's
yes,
another
Del
one.
Bosque.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
sorry, I have to mention Del Bosque.
Guys.
Sorry.
Another really
You're
could
supposed to
eas-
be keeping this.
You had that one.
I have
You're over
one
here
I
like
have
this.
one off day, and you guys just
could
fall
definitely
apart.
have been
Yeah, that's how it
mentioned. Del Bosque, a superb manager, very rigid, like proper.
Perhaps more known for his time as Spain manager.
Yeah, just because of in terms of recency at least, because of the World Cup win and the Euros win. But Del Bosque, superb. A lot of fans that we spoke to had Del Bosque as their best
true.
manager of all time.
Yeah, I mean, but with our 3 guys, the 3 most successful managers in Real
Mhm.
Madrid history,
Yes.
Yeah.
and not to say that your 2 candidates don't fit in this criteria, but there's no one who embodies Real Madrid and grandeza more than Miguel Munoz, who, I mean, like I said, as a player, we won't take this into account, but just for the grandeza stuff, first captain to ever lift the European Cup for
That
Real
shouldn't
Madrid.
come into this conversation, though.
Okay. How about first player manager
That's
to ever?
a bold stance to take for someone that could be arguing a very similar thing.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Zidane's playing is
No,
completely.
he has done that on 10 times, and I've called him out on it
Yeah,
every
okay.
time. But and like I said, it's not because he was the first player or the player to do this. It's the grandeza, what he
Yeah.
means to the club, which factors into how people respect him as a manager, and how the fans look at him. So I think it does kind of play into it.
Yeah.
But also the first player and manager to ever win it as a player and a manager.
Mhm.
14 seasons. More than your guy in 2 stints.
Yes.
And
yes. More mine in
More
2 stints.
trophies for now. I think Ancelotti could do it next year. He could pass him.
This is what I would say, that obviously massive impact in a really short space of time. I think Ancelotti's now had 2 seasons more than Zidane. Obviously, that's 8, 9.
I think
God,
Zidane
that's
took
terrible.
over in January when Rafa Benitez got sacked. So obviously he had half a season. and
Okay, so
then-
it's even less. Wow,
Yeah.
that is seriously impressive.
I think it was January. Could you fact check that for me,
But
Sarah?
obviously, for Ancelotti to have the second most amount of wins and will, I think, inevitably take over as, or at least level.
This is a big thing for me, though. Will. He hasn't yet.
That is stay
It's a
up.
fair argument, though.
I don't necessarily.
Like I could.
Okay, well, my guy
It
does.
was January
Yeah.
for you.
January the 5th, I think.
4th.
I think from my perspective, just clearly based off the stats, and bear with me here, there's a second point coming.
Yeah.
Miguel Munoz is the best Real Madrid manager of all time. However, your guys might be, like I said, the second point, might be better managers in terms of like style of play, tactics, all these things. However,
Yours is the most successful.
he is the most successful Real Madrid manager. He is the most synonymous with the club in this entire group. Sorry, Zidane is obviously a legend of the club, but
I actually do find that hard
to be honest.
argue against. But based off Monday, can we pick Ancelotti?
Do you want to tell them what's happening on Monday?
On Monday, it's the open media day for the Champions League. Us three will be working there, so we'll be helping the communications team run that whole day, which means we will meet Carlo. He is the...
Jesus. Sorry,
I've met Carlo already, so.
Yeah, she's already
I've
met
just
Carlo.
sworn on the pod for the first time ever.
What did you
I
say?
just said the F word.
Did you?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Second to last.
When
episode.
you said that, it was more of a case of you said we're going to meet Carlo Ancelotti, and I was like,
yeah.
FFS.
I mean, it's insane, and but more importantly, he is about to win, fingers crossed, his 13th trophy as Real Madrid manager. It'll be his third, which will equal Zidane's. It will take him up to 5 overall Champions League titles. He is.
This is all based on an if, though.
yeah, exactly.
None of this is factual.
Okay,
None of
well,
this has
I will
happened.
for clipability, I will say this into camera.
Oh, God.
Carlo Ancelotti.
This is going to come back to bite you in the ass.
I
Real
freaking
Madrid.
I'm going to tell Juan.
Real Madrid are going to win their 15th Champions League title by beating Borussia Dortmund on June the 1st, and they'll do it quite comfortably.
So if it doesn't happen, Florentino Perez, you know who to
Exactly,
get arrested.
yeah.
Can he have a punishment if he's wrong?
Yeah, I think you have to
the only
write a letter of apology to Juan.
No, but as in,
the only thing that I think when we look at the team we've built, I'm wondering if this has anything to play into it.
I think we should look at the team we've built.
And like which manager would suit them the best. I mean, like we've talked about Carlo Ancelotti being kind of a fluid.
I think Carlo Ancelotti is the perfect blend of Miguel Munoz's man management and sort of ability to let the unbelievable talent that he had flourish.
I would disagree.
Oh, can you finish? Or?
Okay, yeah, no, finish, but I disagree.
I haven't even finished my point. I do know
Sorry?
if you disagree.
Sorry, I did a you.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
You
about to
didn't
say
know.
that.
Yeah, so the brilliant man management and of letting the players flourish brilliantly, but whilst also having the sort of tactical nous of Zinedine Zidane and the in-game management that is above both of them, that overall makes him the best manager and the best Real Madrid manager.
So my
Do you disagree, Alex?
point of yes,
I've heard-
point of
I think you might.
disagreement. Yeah, my point of disagreement is, I think in terms of a team, my guy, Zinedine Zidane managed.
Your homeboy.
No.
My God.
my Zinedine
Zidane.
Yeah, it's
as
Easy.
normal people say it. He managed, I'm going to say it, the best Real Madrid team ever. And to be able to,
Does
I
that
said
make
it in
less
my-
impressive?
I going back to Noah's point, he said that in terms of, letting those players, do their thing whilst also implementing his style, managing those individuals, because there were some individuals on that team that would have been very hard to manage in terms of man management, to be able to do what he did.
I don't think he has tougher individuals than Ancelotti has now.
Oh, I disagree.
In terms of like actual personalities,
Yes,
this is much more of a superstar age.
I'd say
No.
Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema. Those
It was always Ronaldo's team, though.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Those are arguably 3 of the biggest individuals to ever play for Real Madrid in terms of superstars.
But Cristiano Ronaldo is a very, very consummate professional. And just because his brand is bigger, his like, his ego is never sort of really like in terms of actual.
I don't know about
in terms
that.
of training and playing, his ego, apart from at
But
Man United,
it's very easy
second
to.
stint.
It would be very easy for Zinedine Zidane to have sat back and let Ronaldo control the team. But
We
he's
basically just have
implemented.
the same argument every single time, but with different people.
I was going to say, this is what we always do. There's kind of 3, maybe there's more. There's how long did you do it for?
Mm-hmm.
There's what did you achieve while you did it?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you mean to Real Madrid, the
Yeah.
Grandeza?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to win the Grandeza.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
How many games does Ancelotti have?
I don't actually think I have a figure for that.
Don't have.
You need to be on the ball because you understand that. I mean, you should see where this is going. That I'm not going to cave, Alex is not going to cave, and Casey's not going to cave.
Well,
So
I might game just to
Oh,
like.
you can cave.
I'm kind of playing God here.
I think for what my guy did in the period of time that he was there is the most.
he's already in the team.
Well,
he doesn't
hang
need to be
on.
in it twice.
Can I finish, please? My guy,
170. Oh, wait,
Zinedine
no.
Zidane,
Don't listen to me.
for what he did in the period of time that he did it, I think is the most influential period of management in Real Madrid history.
That is, I mean, the problem is he just didn't do it long enough.
But no, that's what I'm saying. For what he did in the period of time that he did it, ignoring
That's not an.
I
That is
do
very
ju- I-
very
no,
impressive.
ignoring how long you did it. I'm just saying if you take the time as it is, ignoring the length, just if you value what he did versus what someone else did, I think it's the most influential thing a Real Madrid manager has ever done.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think
I do just think the lack of longevity about it means that right now he can't get in it. When he comes back and inevitably
the
wins
will,
loads
the
of
will.
trophies,
But all that stuff
down
doesn't
down
matter.
the line, I mean, Zinedine Zidane is a young man.
True.
He will manage Real Madrid again.
How old is he, Sarah?
Zinedine Zidane will manage Real Madrid again in the
So
future.
clippable, man.
It's
What'd you
almost
ask
as if
me?
he's
Okay,
looking down
the
the
first
camera.
question.
Zidane is 51.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought he was much younger than that.
I mean, still,
Also,
Yeah.
we're
still
at
a young age. Come on.
55 minutes.
Oh
Wow.
my word.
Jesus
And you
Christ.
guys said you wanted a short episode.
Well, sorry guys.
Sorry about
This is
that.
going to be longer than the striker episode. in a
Okay,
minute.
so
Don't just point at me.
Yeah.
well, no,
Yes.
we need a decision then.
It's
'cause
coming down to you.
Unless you
I
are
mean-
changing your mind.
I'm.
Are you caving?
No, I am between. I just don't think it's Zidane at all. I think it's a
Oh,
two-horse
I don't
race.
think it's Zidane at all either.
Okay.
Sorry, honey.
Okay.
I think
That
Carlo
officially-
Ancelotti suits the team better, but Munoz is the Real
I
Madrid
have my
is the
choice.
best Real
Okay.
Madrid manager.
No, to be
Your
honest, if I was being realistic, I don't think Zidane should be the,
Okay.
the manager.
Okay,
I
can you
think,
two then?
To be honest, I think out of your two, in
Wait.
terms of influence,
Do we
in
agree?
terms of, sorry, I should speak closer to the mic. In terms of influence, in terms of grandeza, in terms of games won, in terms of trophies won, in terms of what they will be remembered at the club, combined with their achievements as a manager, I think I would go with Miguel Munoz.
I would as well. That was my choice.
Okay. Wow. All right. Fine. I disagree, Carlo. I think you're the greatest
I
Real Madrid
think-
manager of all time.
No,
I think
will.
he can get there.
I
I
will,
just
yeah.
don't. I don't think he's there
I'd end
yet.
on that caveat. I think if he does as well as he's doing until he finishes in 2026, he will be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would have picked probably Carlo Ancelotti first with the first pick as well. I think
Miguel Munoz is a deserving winner.
it's just
I
there's
think that's
two.
So let's
Much.
have the official
Official
announcement.
announcement.
I
That
can't believe
the-
that was 55 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was because of the intro.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, God.
The officially the
Yes.
best Real Madrid. Don't
Let's try this again.
interrupt me.
Okay, go again.
Officially, the best Real Madrid manager of all time is Miguel Munoz,
Wow.
There you have
which
it.
means that our official winner.
Does that mean he gets a reward or something?
No.
I'll buy him a beer.
But our
I'll
official
take that. I think
loser.
you all should buy me.
Our
a beer.
official
I
loser.
think I owe him a beer.
And
anyways.
the official punishee of the Hot Ones challenge. I don't know.
Person to be receiving the punishment, as normal people would say
Sounds weirder than mine.
I don't know which one is weird.
it. Yeah.
Alex
is
lost. Alex is gonna
Alex
go
Alex
first.
Ashmore, he is the loser of season
I am.
1 of Football Nostalgia.
So, to remind you all, just in case you've forgotten, I finished with 3 points.
Who are your three
I
picks?
thought it was.
I think
Was
I
it three?
No,
finished
I
with
have
3.
5-4-3. I think.
Yeah.
5-4-3,
So I think
Discuss
I
this in the next episode.
I finished with
It's already
3
an hour.
points, and my 3 points were Casemiro, Zidane,
One of them's about to get plucked.
and Ronaldo. Noah finished with 4, and his 4 picks were Carvajal, Hierro,
Ramos.
No.
Ramos, and
Raul.
Di Stefano.
I think I had Carvajal.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, you had Carvalho. I had Ramos.
Sorry.
I had Ramos, Hierro, Di Stefano, and Raul.
Raul. And Casey with 5 picks had Casillas, Carvajal, Roberto Carlos,
Figo.
Figo, and Miguel Munoz. Is that 5?
Yes.
Have I
that is fine.
miscounted? So yeah, there you have it. That wraps up, in terms of points, season 1 of Football Nostalgia. Casey is the winner with 5 points. Noah comes in second, like Spurs, with 4 points. And
Second's a bit high, don't you think?
I came in a valiant third with 3 points.
If you think back, you got to text
Yeah,
before the wheels spin.
You will see the punishment that we film. We've got some.
Also, we are going to be doing some corrections. So
Yes.
this team is not finalized yet.
But it will be in the next episode.
Yes.
Head straight over them.
Well,
Actually, no, you can't. It won't be. Sorry.
It will be a week. Head straight over in a week. But yes, thank you very much for watching. I guess that's kind of a mini wrap on season 1. Not fully wrapped,
Soft wrap.
but yes, soft wrap. Well said.
We've got some fun stuff coming though.
But yes, thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, comments if you agree with Casey, if you agree with me, if you agree with Noah. Then drop a comment, send it to your mum, your dad, your sister.
On YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow us
Adham
on
Carly.
Twitter. Yes, everyone who's watching.
Aiden,
Tom,
Matt, Tom, my dad.
Hong Kong guy.
Yeah, Tom.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for watching. I've been Alex Ashmore. He's been Casey. He's been Noah. She's been Sarah. Adios.
Hasta luego.
Love you.